Kind, can you hear me?
Right, Jack.
Can you see this now?
That's perfect, boy. It's like I'm inside you.
Oh my God, class.
This way you get to see her after party, and then when the time is right, I'll find a way of getting you to speak to her.
Oh, you're a genius, guy. It's like being in a James Bond movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Call of Duty, isn't it? Get down! Get down!
Back. The zombies are coming, buddy. The zombies are coming.
The zombies are coming! Fuck you! Get out of my fucking house!
You Nazi bastards.
Remember? It's like you're here, boy. It's like you're here. Here, Jack, do you read me?
Yeah, boy, you read you loud and clear. Alright, I'm gonna show you around.
You know the new uniforms in terms of being aerodynamic? The top speeds I get, they're crazy, they're scary. So really?
Oh, what the fuck? Everyone looks so much older, boy.
Are they waterproof? Somewhat. They're kind of water-ish.
There's my going, boy, she's beautiful. Look at the size of her.
I think you look absolutely handsome in them, though.
Well, I like them. Just be careful there now, Star. I think you accidentally hit me with your sword.
There she is. You see her?
Okay, that one seemed a bit less accidental.
And she's only having a laugh, I understand.
Yeah, with Ow!
Okay, well, it looks like Star's after taking a shine to you, Tony, so thank you so much for agreeing to be childminder for the day.
Fuck's sake.
You better behave yourself, because he's a guard.
I'm not scared of stupid guards.
Alright, you must be proud, boy.
She's having great crack, isn't she? I wish I was there.
I tell you what's stupid is somebody starting a life of crime at your age. You're on your last warning now, okay?
Any word on you getting that early release?
Nah, boy, 2 years is best case scenario is what they're saying.
Alright, 2 years won't be long going by at all, boy. To be honest, you're not missing much, like. Life's pretty boring.
You could end up like Con, you could be in prison.
Okay, Tony, that's a bit heavy-handed with the
Well, I
child.
tell you what's heavy-handed as well as that sword.
To be honest, I'd actually rather be there with you if I could, like.
Gee, we'd have his own crack. You and me in here. We'd run the place.
It's ours. Exactly.
We'd have our own business in all ways. We'd be taking in contraband for all the prisoners.
You'd like smuggle in like barrels of tequila for all the lads and cigars and which one of you lads ordered a new pair of socks?
Boy, we'd have the prison guards eating out of our hands like in Shawshank.
Be up on the roof just drinking beers. Me, you and Mark and Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, yeah.
Stop, boy.
Jock. No, stop.
I miss you, boy. I'd like to be there with you if I could, like.
I don't know about that, boy. Don't get me wrong, like, I'd love the company, but I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Definitely not my best friend.
Here, it'll probably be after we've eaten by the time I get you to talk to Star. Is that okay?
Oh.
Yeah, nice one. Just everyone's quite busy.